Toy Lab.
Hi, I'm Tonya. In this video, I'm going to show you my favorite quick chocolate frosting recipe and how, using freezer meal techniques, you can have some for now and some for later whenever you have a craving. When I was growing up, I got to babysit for this family with 3 kids. And the mother always made sure to have something special for dessert on the nights that I made dinner for the family. Maybe cookies, maybe brownies, but my favorite was when she made yellow cake with chocolate frosting. And Mrs. Criscow gave me the recipe way back in the 80s. And you can see I carefully wrote it down on this index card. I came to find that it is also in my Hershey's chocolate cookbook from the 80s. And even to this day, it's on the back of every container of Hershey's chocolate cocoa. Right there, chocolate frosting. We're going to make it together, and maybe I will convince you to try my favorite chocolate frosting recipe. Aside from melting the butter, everything else goes in one bowl. Very easy. We have butter, the Hersheys Cocoa, some salt, milk, vanilla, and a whole box of powdered sugar. A whole pound. Let's get started. Here's our 1/2 cup of melted butter into the mixer. Then our cocoa and our salt, and I like using these Tupperware containers for my baking ingredients. It's so much easier to have a big opening to get my dry ingredients scooped and measured than having just a small opening that's in the Hershey's Cocoa jar. There we go, a 1/2 cup of Hershey's Cocoa. And just a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. See how much easier that is than trying to shake out some salt and getting the right amount. There's a link in the description below if you don't have a Tupperware lady near you. Tupperware person, a Tupperware seller. Tupperware can be sold by anybody because it's so cool and so popular. So I will mix this together. Next comes a 1/3 cup of milk and a 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Mix this up. I always find it so pretty at this stage, the dark chocolate and the milk and the butter all mixed together. Now comes the sugar. The recipe says you can add up to 1 pound of powdered sugar, less if you like your frosting a little bit darker. Just toss the whole thing in. It is sweet and rich and chocolatey and so delicious. Now, if you aren't buying a box of 1 pound powdered sugar, you can measure out 3 3/4 cup powdered sugar. Ooh. And we'll mix it in 3 batches. And there it is, quick and easy chocolate frosting practically in one bowl, and I just have to have some just because. Just like Mrs. Criscow makes it. All right, now I could frost my cake. This makes a 13 by 9 cake or a 2 layers cake, round cake, or 24 cupcakes. I am going to freeze half of it. Why? Because sometimes I just make a 2 round layered cake and I only use one of the rounds. So I only need half of the frosting. These round Tupperware, not Tupperware, they're Ziploc. These round Ziploc containers, there's a link in the description below. So useful. I love these freezer labels. I've tried very many labels for my freezer containers, and these are the best because they wash off with water. They don't leave a sticky residue. You don't have to pick them off of your containers when you're done using them. So I'm going to label it chocolate frosting. Stick on the label. Any kids around? I always wondered, what do families do that have more than 2 kids? I grew up with myself and my sister, and my mom would always give each of us a beater to lick. Now my mom, she grew up in a house of 5 girls. So I asked her, what did you do when your mom made cake or frosting or cookies when there's just 2 beaters? And she said her mom was a smart woman and gave everyone in the family a spoonful of the frosting or the cookie dough or the cake batter, whatever it was she was making. So there were no fights. Now I'm just going to kind of make a little estimate line showing my half mark, since I'm only freezing half of my frosting. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to freeze all of the frosting, and then I'll show you how to use your frozen frosting. Okay, it's almost too full. You know, things expand in the freezer, and if this was any fuller, it would crack the lid as it expanded while it was being frozen. I'm going to freeze this big lump of frosting, and when it's frozen, I'll come back and show you how I use the frozen frosting when I need just a little bit of frosting here and there, or even need the whole thing. I'll see you in a bit. I wish you were here too. Lick the bowl with me. Oh, so good. Here's our frozen cylinder of chocolate frosting. See how it expanded? The frosting expanded as it froze and stuck to the top there. But it's okay. Now, frosting is not like ice cream. When you pull it out of the freezer, it's not frozen solid. So I can use it from frozen, which is so convenient to have this frozen frosting. Here are some, oh, look. Does this ever happen to you? You end up with 2 on your cupcake. I have some cupcakes and I have some cookie scoops. I love using my cookie scoops because I can get exact measurements equally. So I could be super sweet and use my largest cookie scoop to put on the frosting on these 7 cupcakes. This is too much, even for me. So I'm using my cookie scoop that is about a tablespoon. Now I will put that cookie scoop of frosting frozen on top of the cupcake. And in no time at all, the cupcake frosting will soften enough that I can just use a knife to kind of spread it around. And look at how much frosting there is on this one cupcake. For a tablespoon, this would have been way too much, even for me. Now we'll just wait a few minutes for the frosting to thaw enough to be spread. Now if I was frosting an entire 9x13 cake or 2 round layers cake, I would use all of this frosting, which means I would need to let it all be thawed. It would be too tedious to do the scoops like this if I was doing a 9x13 cake or 2 9-inch round layers. That means I would take the frosting out of the freezer the night before and just put this sealed up in the refrigerator overnight, and then the next day it will just be smooth and creamy, and I can put it on my 9x13 cake or my 2 layers of cake. Let's let this soften for about 5 minutes and I will see you then. It's been about 15 minutes. And I think the frosting has thawed enough to be spread out. Let us see. Perfect. So beautiful. In another video, did I tell you this already? I can't remember. I showed you how to freeze cupcakes. Freezer meals are all about convenience, having what you want on hand when you want it. If you had cupcakes in the freezer, you could pull out maybe 2 or 3 for after school snack, scoop out some frosting, and have it ready for when your kids get home from school. Or if you want to just treat somebody special. 1 cupcake, 1 scoop of frosting, and then put it on their desk and see if they can guess who it came from. Everybody loves cupcakes. Everybody will love this frosting, my favorite easy 1 bowl almost chocolate frosting from Hershey's. Okay. Yes, it looks lovely. And yes, I simply must eat one now. It's beautiful. Now I need a glass of milk. Freezer meals are all about making your life easier. You're front loading the work, so you have less stress and less mess at dinner time. And you always have a sweet treat ready to pull out of your freezer. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share. It helps YouTube put my video in front of other people who want to make their lives so much easier with freezer meals. In the description below, I have links to resources, things that I used in this video, like the cookie scoop, and video courses and books. Make sure you checked out the description below. I'm Tonya. Thanks for watching.
Joy Lab. Learning done right.
Learn more with Joy Lab. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Visit us at www.joylab.biz. Thank you.